So I am very excited to have this conference and this panel, and for the many months leading up to this while we were organizing it, I was very, very excited specifically about this panel because it is very, very unusual to get an opportunity to speak to doctors and medical doctors who actually have the full experience of the medical world and yet also have the knowledge and understanding of whole food plant-based nutrition and a lifestyle approach. So I'd like to begin I'd like to start by asking each of you to just, for anyone who, there are people who might not watch this entire video in full, and for people that you have one chance to speak to and you want to tell them what your message is, you've been writing books, you've been doing this for many years, if you were going to sum up the basic of what your book is about, what your philosophy is about, what you want them to know about health and nutrition, what would you like to take, in 3 minutes, what would you like to say to all the people that have never met you and what you've learned in the last all these years, your philosophy? If you could each give an introductory 3-minute comment, that would be a great way to start.
In medical school, I learned how to diagnose and treat hundreds of different diseases, and I thought I was going to be seeing 6 cases of leprosy every week, 4 cases of smallpox, 3 of typhoid fever, and 1 of Tsutsugamuchi fever. In 45 years of medicine, I've not seen any of those diseases, thank heavens. I've spent my career treating a rather small group of degenerative diseases, obesity, high blood pressure, diabetes, and a host of problems from clogged arteries and inflammatory reactions of all types throughout the body, autoimmune diseases, colitis, etc. And the current dogma is iteology unknown, or some we don't know, or some subtle virus might be at play as the cause. In all these years, it's become very obvious that the cause is summed up on 3 words in a plaque in my office. It's the food. And the second line under that is, it's been the food all along. In the space of our careers, my career, the American diet has devolved and become toxic. And every 4 or 5 hours, people run a flood of animal protein and dairy products and hydrogenated oils and refined sugars and vegetable oils through their bloodstream. And it causes inflammation throughout the body. It initiates plaque formation that sets them up for heart attacks and strokes. It clogs their insulin receptors, setting them up for diabetes. Sets off inflammatory reactions throughout the body. And again, it's this animal-based, overly processed nutrition, quotes around nutrition that people are sending through their body. Fortunately, changing to a whole food plant-based diet reverses these conditions. It would seem intuitively obvious. It was published in the prestigious medical journal called Duh. And when I put my patients on whole food plant-based diets, as we do at our True North Health Center in Santa Rosa, California, we see wonderful things happen. The obesity melts away, the arteries open up, the high blood pressure comes down, the diabetes resolves, the joints stop hurting, the migraine headaches go away, the asthma gets better. And so if there's anything I could tell you, please learn about whole food plant-based nutrition. It's simple: fruit and oatmeal for breakfast, salads and soups, colorful salads, hearty vegetable soups, big plates of steamed green and yellow vegetables, lentil stews, healthy bean burritos on lettuce boats there, and colorful fruits for desserts. And take a walk every day and laugh a lot. And your body will transform itself to a lean, healthy one with normal pressures and numbers, and you won't need the services of people like us. And so whole food plant-based diet has been the key all along. It's the key to rescuing our health system on every level. We could use that money for much better things, and we would be able to enjoy seeing our patients on the bike paths rather than on the operating tables.
Yes, I'll echo some of what Michael said. Can you hear me? I think my mic is up. Okay. In medical school, our teachers were the sick, the dying, and the dead. The first class we took was when we autopsy cadavers, so that started off with the dead. And we mostly focused on, managing disease states. In our upper level classes, it was a matter of just managing this disease. This diabetic came in, this hypertensive came in, the heart failure patient came in, et cetera. And so we focused on managing the disease and treating the disease as opposed to treating the whole frame of the patient. And so when I started my career more than 20 years ago and hung my shingle up after my cardiology and electrophysiology training, I started treating patients in the emergency room. And over time, I saw that despite the advancing technology, the procedures we did, the devices I implanted in them, the medications I gave them, the patients got sicker and sicker. And it wasn't until I discovered the benefits of optimal nutrition, specifically a plant-based nutritional regimen, that I started seeing remarkable changes. It wasn't a matter of just treating heart failure or treating diabetes or treating high blood pressure, et cetera. It was a matter of removing poison from the body. And the standard American diet, the types of foods my patients consumed on a regular basis, was poison. And when I removed the poison and then replaced it with natural food, i.e. plant-based nutrition, then the body healed itself. It didn't matter how sick my patients were. I had patients who had quadruple bypass, stents, the heart was beating at 10%, they had defibrillators in, they were on 21 medications. When I put them on a natural plant-based diet, the condition reversed. I've had patients on life support where I fed them just plant-based food through a PEG tube and was able to wean them off the ventilator and have them walk out of the hospital on 2 occasions. That's how resilient the body is, and that's how well the body will heal itself. So in my book, I have a picture of a tree that has the stump of the tree and then the branches. And the branches have lots of different diagnoses. It has hypertension, diabetes, weebie-jeebies, you name it. In our standard allopathic medicine, we treat the leaves. We'll give a medication for this leaf, we'll give a medication for this leaf, but the source, the trunk of the tree is poor nutrition. And we ignore that. And so from the standpoint of taking care of your own health, or if you're a healthcare professional, taking care of the health of your patients, you want to address illnesses at its core. And the core is poor nutrition. And when you do that, the body will heal itself. Thank you very much.
Okay. Am I on? All right. I think that what happens today when people visit doctors is it is the collision of low expectations. The patient arrives at the doctor's office not knowing that he or she can be healed and resolve these diseases. And 90% of the time, or maybe more, the doctor was not trained to heal these diseases either. So what an unfortunate coincidence. 2 people who have very low expectations about the patient's health get together, and you know what? Those low expectations are met every time, and that's very unfortunate. So I think one of the common denominators of all of us here is we're all trying to change that. And I think one thing that's very helpful, and what I want to be really clear about and convey, is that I have every confidence that we will be able to change this, and during our lifetimes. Part of the reason being that we eat well, we're going to last a lot longer than the people who don't. That's good news. Some of our detractors are dropping like flies. We're still here. But there's another issue, and I think that we have to really take this to consumers, and they're going to have to drive the conversion, because there aren't enough doctors like the ones you're seeing at this conference and listening to make this revolution happen. And institutions are hard to change. But when you motivate consumers, and consumers are the ones that have the most at stake, and they're going to be the easiest to motivate. I talked about this afternoon, that the consumer is the most affected by the decisions that get made. So I think we can motivate consumers to take charge of the situation in a number of different ways. To first of all, gain control of their own health, and then to start spreading the message to other people. And I think that our medical system is so fragile right now, it's being held together with chewing gum and paper clips, really, that it wouldn't take much to disrupt it in a major way. I mean, 10, 20 million consumers who just say, I'm dropping out. I'm not going to be a sick person in the medical mill. I'm going to be a healthy person who eats well and exercises and stays away from doctors unless there's something really, really wrong with me. The system couldn't afford 10 or 20 million withdrawals. And then you'll start to see the shift, because everything shifts in response to demand. And won't that be an exciting day? And everybody here can be a very active participant in that. So I guess what I would encourage anybody watching this to internalize is that the solution to this whole problem, it's us. It's one person at a time. Every time you impact somebody by leading by example, by showing them a better way, modeling good behavior, every time you just get one more person on board, it's one more person closer to that tipping point, which is where everybody will know about this. And I think once everybody knows about it, our healthcare bill will go from $3 trillion to about $600 billion. We'll really take good care. People say we don't have enough money to take care of everybody. We've got plenty of money to take care of everybody if we just take care of the things that really need being taken care of. And this problem can be solved. And I think it'll happen in the next 10 or 15 years. So I have people say, one person told me, "You're so optimistic." And the person standing next to him said, "No, she's too stupid to know how bad it is. Honest to God, this happened." And I said, "Well, I may not be too bright, but I'll take my optimistic outlook any day." So.
Okay, full disclosure, I'm the only person up here on this panel that's not a doctor. But I have recently published a book with a medical doctor, Dr. Carrie Graff in Canandaigua, New York. And the way we met was I actually done some work. I'm on the board of directors of the T. Colin Campbell Center for Nutrition Studies. And a few years back, I had asked Colin Campbell his definition of the optimal diet, and I think he had put it in his books, and he said, the closer we come to eating a diet of whole plant-based foods, the better off we will be. So, as kind of being an outsider in this field, I said, we need a better terminology for describing the optimal diet than vegan or vegetarian, neither of which describe necessarily an optimal diet, because both of them focus more on what we're not eating than what we are eating. So I came up with a little scale. I called it the 4-leaf scale, and I sat at Colin's breakfast table and shared it with him. And he said, and the deal was, we're going to have it 1-leaf, 2-leaf, 3-leaf, 4-leaf. At 4-leaf level, you're getting at least 80% of your calories from whole plant-based foods. And at 3-leaf, it's over 60% of your calories. And it's not necessarily vegan or vegetarian, but it's focusing on maximizing the healthiest of foods, according to T. Colin Campbell. And I think a definition that most of the doctors that I know, probably the ones at this table, agree with, the closer we come to eating a diet of whole plant-based foods. So I created a survey called the 4-Leaf Survey, and that's how Dr. Carrie Graff found me. And we got together and started talking about how she had seen Forks Over Knives and was really excited about changing her practice and was looking for tools. And so she contacted me and we got together. And that's the origin of how I happened to write a book with a medical doctor. People were asking me, "Are you going to write another book?" And I said, "No, I don't have anything else to say." But after I met Carrie and saw what she was doing with her practice, a family medicine practice in upstate New York, and she was just so thrilled to be able to help her patients reverse their diabetes and heart disease and hypertension and you name it. So after being around in this field now for like 12 years and meeting most of the players that are the best known people, the medical doctors and the scientists, there aren't many scientists, by the way. T. Colin Campbell's about the only one. But I am very, very confident that for this to really gain traction, we have to get more medical doctors on board. People trust their health with their doctor. And if you were to watch Forks Over Knives and get excited about this diet of whole plant-based foods. If you went to your doctor, the chances are 10 to 1. If you told him or her what you were going to do, chances are 10 to 1 that you would hear more words of caution than you would encouragement, because the word is simply not out there. Now, I don't know what the answer is to get the masses on board in the medical profession, but I have one thought. Kaiser Permanente has, according to my research, 28,000 medical doctors. There's 2 different divisions. One's headed up by Robert Pearl and the other one's headed up by Bernard Tyson. And there's a group of medical doctors within Kaiser Permanente. I think they said it's about 200 doctors that are all gung-ho about plant-based nutrition, and they're really working with their patients. And when I talk to those guys, and I've talked to a half a dozen of them, I say, what about the CEOs? What about Pearl and Tyson? Why are they not requiring that the other 28,000 doctors start doing this? Why are we letting heart disease and cancer and type 2 diabetes kill people for no reason? And until we get a lot of doctors on board, we're just not going to get there. So for whatever I can offer to this panel tonight, I'd be happy to do so, but I am the only non-doctor on the panel. Proud to be here.